Oh wow. You know, wouldn't this be better in VR? Now what could that be? Dude, my VR is here. I can finally play Half-Life through Gmod VR. The Digital Circus is a show made by the studio Glitch Productions. Famous for this show, Gaslight District, Knights of Guinevere, and a few others that I do not care to mention. The creator of the show is Gooseworks. To be honest, all this setup isn't important. You've definitely seen or heard of it, but this series started in 2023 and has had all 9 episodes finally released to the public, with the last episode being released in theaters. This show is one I really do enjoy. I watched the first episode when it came out. I never was a fan of Glitch before, but it seemed like a cool premise for a show, so I watched it. The pilot was pretty good. Not the absolute best, but it was enough to hook me in and excited for more. I then kept watching the episodes as they came out, and watched the finale on the first day it was out. So, I wanted to ask the question, was the story worth a 3-year wait for a conclusion? Well, I think the best way to go at this is to go episode by episode, because as we all know, you should only base your opinions on the first person you listen to. The pilot is always the first and strangest part to start with for anything. I think this pilot was a fantastic way to introduce everything. It starts off with the intro, that anyone who has watched the show has engraved in their head, even though it was only in 1 episode. This episode introduces us to the members of the circus, Jax, Ragatha, Kinger, Zooble, and Gangle. Also, the ringmaster, Kane, and the little sidekick, Bubble. This episode is also where our main character comes into the story. Her name is Pomni. The pilot structure has the exposition of location, characters, and rules of the world, then the introduction of an adventure, introduction of abstractions, Pomni tries to lead through the void and everything gets solved, and Pomni has to accept her fate of being there. It is not much to talk about. This episode broke through crazy numbers on YouTube and showed the buzz for it. This episode, even though it probably is my second least favorite episode in the series, was one of the biggest things to talk about across the internet. It was a great way to start the series, but I think the main reasonable criticism I can leave is I feel like it could have set its tone a bit harder and the fact it wasn't for kids. The pilot is still great and of course slowly became one of the lower episodes on my list. You know how I said the pilot was my second least favorite episode? You'll never guess what my least favorite episode is. Candy Courier Chaos is the second episode in the series, and guess what? It is the least important one, except for one aspect, but this episode is the first real adventure. The cast goes through the Candy Canyon Kingdom, retrieving a stolen truck full of maple syrup. They meet the princess, we meet the bandits, the gang fall into a fudge river, Pomni and one bandit clip through the map, and the NPC has an existential crisis. And they bring back the syrup, with dead gummies included.
Wait, what?
The one important part is the Pomni and Gummy Goo part, where Gummy Goo becomes a bit semi-sentient and sees how he and the other NPCs are not real. See, when this episode first came out, it was like, oh, this is so cool, and shows that Pomni isn't alone. And it is a decently executed sad scene. This NPC is also pretty cool. Hopefully we get a satisfying conclusion about him. This episode was always the worst for me, but after watching every episode, it is cemented as my least favorite. But it has one redeeming thing that I do enjoy on a rewatch. Kaufmo's, the abstracted guy's, funeral. It's just a good way to show that everyone is human, and it shows Pomni that people will miss her if she is gone. It is a sweet moment that ties in with the Gummy Goo part, that it all seems fake, but for her and the others, it is real. Oh bro, this is a good episode. Pretty much all the episodes get better and better the further we go on. Except for one, which I'll make my thoughts on, very obvious. The Mystery of Mildenhall Manor is the next episode, and it is a lot better than the first 2. So the cast of characters go on another adventure in Mildenhall Manor, a horror adventure to appeal to the Zooble. The manor has 2 doors, one for a family-friendly adventure, and the other is a horror one. Kinger accidentally brings Pomni into the horror door. They have to fight against this angel. Kinger shoots it so they get dragged to hell. There is a staircase they can use to get out of, but it has little demons in there that try to possess them. They hold their breath to get out. Zooble and Kane have a therapy session, and the rest have a short, tame, and peaceful adventure. This is a really good episode. Obviously, the highlight of the episode is the entire part with Pomni and Kinger. Having the most level-headed person with what we knew as the most insane was a really fun idea, especially in the scenario they were in. But it also allowed us and Pomni to find out about Kinger's enjoyment of the darkness, his years of computer programming, and his wife. I'm a sucker for when things get revealed about a character, so this episode was awesome. And Kinger is just a fun character to follow. This episode is Gangle focused. It is also the first episode to do one of the suggestion box adventures.
Gonna be real, I forgot we had that.
where the main cast, excluding Kinger, does an honest day of work at Spudsy's fast food chain. Right before the adventure though, Zooble gives Gangle a plastic happy mask. But, back to the adventure. They all get their jobs and roles. Pomni is a cashier, Ragatha is on burger assembly, Zooble is the fry cook, Jax is on drink station, and Gangle is the manager. Pomni stalks Gummy Goo, who's at Spudsy's, Ragatha gets drunk on stupid sauce, Jax is absolutely miserable, and Gangle goes insane and gets really depressed because of the new mask and pressure. The adventure ends with Pomni closing for Gangle so she can leave early. Gangle throws her mask away and gets hit by a truck. This episode has a really sad and weird feeling throughout it, but it is really good. It shows these characters in something realistic, which is refreshing. The highlight was definitely Ragatha when she got on the stupid sauce. I do like this episode because it actually made me like Gangle. Guys, this is my favorite episode. It's the best one. My opinion, of course. It is called Untitled. This is another suggestion box episode where they do a lightning round of them. Jax hunts the rest of the characters, Pomni becomes president, they become an anime, they get to do stargazing, we have an intermission, a Noir bar scene, and finally, softball. This episode goes hard into learning more about the characters. We learn that Jax did have some actual friends, we learn about some parts of the lives and interests of Pomni, Gangle, Ragatha, and Zooble. There is a friendship with Jax and Ribbit, and other small things. This episode is my favorite out of all 9 episodes. It is such a fun time, and in my opinion, the funniest episode.
Are you hearing this, Bubble? The Toy Box character wants us to leave the other intelligent AIs to run for a prolonged period of time.
Disgusting!
If I had to pick the highlight of the episode in my eyes, it would be the President Pomni adventure. It is so dumb, and it is amazing. It has some of the funniest lines in the episode.
I'd personally go with blue. Blue's my favorite color, it being closest to black and all.
Wouldn't black be your favorite color then?
Well, no, there's no black wire.
But to be honest, every part of this episode can be seen as the best part. They all get guns is the title, and obviously what happens. Kane plans a trust adventure, but he then gives up and just gives them guns. So it's a full-on battle royale with 3 duos. Pomni and Jax, Ragatha and Kinger, and Zooble and Gangle. They have to run around the circus grabbing guns and shooting each other. The last team standing wins. The episode is fun and has Kinger making a butterfly, Pomni and Jax building a bond. We find out how Jax sees the circus and why he is how he is. Cartoon gun logic, Jax's shell breaking, more Kinger dad talks, Tommy gun, Jax crash out, which leads to Jax and Pomni no longer having something close to a friendship, so Jax hates everyone now. And the favorite character awards, which Jax almost abstracts during. But this is a fantastic episode, and I loved how it had some sort of intensity for once. All the other episodes were really relaxed, and it's nice to see some more interesting adventures that don't rely on characters. Ignore the fact that my favorite episode relies on the characters. But the highlight of the episode to me is the Kinger fight. It is so cool having flashes of light showing the gunshots, and of course the
Ricochet super move!
It also leads into a Kinger dad talk, and that's also a great scene too. The more I watch the Jax crash out scene, and seeing it everywhere online for a bit, I've become numb to it and realized it's not one of the best parts of the episode. But this episode was really good.
Oh, wait, I misread that. It's Mig.
This is the beach episode. The one episode every show likes to have for a sane and normal fan base. So basically, Kane has no idea what to do for an adventure, so he recommends to the cast to go hang out at the beach. So they go do that, having fun, talking to a fish who could try to be more of a smiling friend.
Dude, you ruined it.
Jax is all sad and being alone because he's not like the others. So Jax goes to his room and almost abstracts. This is also how we see what abstraction looks like for those experiencing it. They all hang out until Pomni finds a mannequin NPC, who's actually a person named Abel, a person who might know a way out of the circus. He refuses to include Kinger for no apparent reason, but they lay out a plan and have Jax distract and grab a key from Kane, while Abel, Pomni, and Ragatha grab admin passes for everyone. They go against Abel and bring Kinger. They reach Kane's office and get to 2 buttons at the main console, one to leave and one to stay in the circus. Jax has some weird flashback to the real world stuff and hits the stay in the circus button, which happened to be the good ending of the adventure, because all of it was fake, and Abel was an NPC. The cast try to confront Kane, who just leaves.
Questioning's over. Your prize is this lovely gift basket of soaps and lotions. Stay fragrant, have a good fragrant night, bye!
This episode was phenomenal. I remember watching it and actually getting tricked into thinking it was the end, or even just like really close. even though we knew there'd be 2 more episodes after it. This episode did a great job of stirring up tension between the main cast and Kane. That would be important to get anywhere farther. I think the highlight of the episode was the ending. The ending really made everyone break a bit and show that no one wants to stay. And it's so cool to see after we got used to everyone acting like they are fine with life in the circus. Also, giving the cast a reason to get mad at Kane was awesome. This is the second to last episode, and it is awesome. It starts off with showing 2 different AIs training off of different data, red and blue. The red one takes over the blue and makes the circus. We can assume that this is Kane. We then get to see the first set of people in the circus. We mainly focus on Kinger and his wife Queenie, until we see her go into the cellar almost immediately. But we also see Ragatha entering the circus. We then start from the end of the last episode with the cast talking and accepting their fate while staying in the circus. We then see Kane crash out about the fact that the humans don't like him and goes to tell them about an adventure. But the cast tries to confront him, and he does a whole music number reminding them of who is in charge. Kane then forces them into torturous adventures, and after several days, we see them hanging out while occasionally being teleported to be tortured again. Pomni has the idea of talking to Kinger, who after a while of having a bucket on his head, becomes sane. They then form the plan of changing Kane's code, so everyone goes to distract Kane while Pomni grabs a computer after conjuring an exit door. Kinger works on changing his code while the cast makes Kane crash out again. They all get tortured with their worst fears, but at a point, Kinger accidentally deletes Kane.
Wait.
Which leads to the circus being destroyed. This episode is the second best episode in my opinion, and this includes the final episode. It feels consistent and has my favorite story in it. I think the intensity of the episode was so strong, and the last episode set up a strong want and need for the characters to leave. So the ending of the circus being destroyed with no way out was devastating. The highlight of this episode for me is between Kinger changing the code and the musical number. Kinger's scene was the most intense the show gets, and I loved it for that. And the musical number is just because I'm a theater kid and I love a good musical number. But this is the best way they could have set up the finale in my opinion. Wow. So after 8 episodes, this was the finale. And to put it simply, I liked it. It was a nice and satisfying conclusion. Obviously, it was packed in with episode 8 in theaters, and so of course it continues where that ended. The circus is almost gone and destroyed. Pretty much everyone is in deep depression and sadness. Except for Kinger, Pomni, kind of Jax. Jax is having their own thing right now at the moment, so. Kinger's trying to fix the circus a bit by making shapes and covering holes, and Pomni starts helping him. Slowly more and more of the characters come and help. Jax walks off, and we find out he abstracted. It's done pretty quickly and like it's not a big deal, which was weird to me because even though it was obvious it was gonna be him, it had such a big build-up, but then fell flat instantly. Pomni decided to try fixing him by hugging him, because friendship is magic. So Pomni somehow goes into Jax's mind, I think. We see how Jax sees some of the main characters. We then see those different scenario Jaxes in a little room, with a Jax acting like evil Jax, so shy and quiet, playing the piano. The different Jaxes disappear and Pomni gets a key to see the memories. This is one of the biggest parts of this last episode. We see how Jax came into the circus, we see him in a tent in real life, we see when he gave Gangle her name, when Pomni came into the circus through his eyes, but most importantly, we see Jax, Ribbit, and Kaufmo together. We see them hanging out during adventures, in the cafe, then we see Jax and Ribbit in Ribbit's room talking. Jax opens up about his home life, how he's homeless, and how he might have killed his mom. It's an emotional scene solely because he has never opened up before. He also mentions telling his mom something that he thought might make her think better of him. Ribbit says she understands and puts her bow on Jax's ear, implying that, shoot, I need to fix my script. After this, we see Jax and Ribbit's falling out because Jax does not want to talk about it ever again, and slowly never wants to talk to Ribbit ever again. Ribbit makes plenty of attempts to talk or even just be near Jax again. But Jax eventually gets Ribbit to stop trying to talk to them, tells Kaufmo never to trust her, and Jax starts acting friendly with Ragatha to show Ribbit that she's been replaced. This flashback and Jax's story happen, and then we see Jax at a lamppost and Pomni rushes to hug Jax. Woo! Friendship, I guess. But stuff happens and Pomni gets pulled out by the rest of the cast, so she doesn't die or something. They build a big blanket fort to contain Jax, still abstracted. We then see Kane peeking around a corner. Then cut to Kane in the void. He was crying about oh, they deleted me because they hate me. How horrible. I hate these guys now. But he sees a folder and he decides to fly to it. Until he can't, and he has to walk and make different shapes and break through barriers to get through, until he can get to the folder. This is obviously showing us him going through what his AI did at the start of episode 8, which is how the AI originally trained. We also see Cain fight with himself, until he decides to rip out the blue AI and let it free into the void. Cain opens up the folder, which had brain scans, and he can go through the internet for a bit. Cut back to the circus, where he goes back to talk to the main cast, and he apologizes. He says he's ready to learn and will give the cast the power to change and add to the circus as much as they want, so everyone can have as much fun as they can there. Cain also shows the cast something. He does a slideshow of their lives through social media posts and who they truly are. This also includes Jax, of course. They reveal the names of all of them and how they are doing right now and what they've been able to accomplish. Because guess what? They're all digital copies of the people. None of them are the real people. But this doesn't matter. The cast don't care about trying to be exactly who they were anymore. They want to keep being who they've been in the circus. Pomni isn't Abigail. She's Pomni. The episode ends with the characters' real selves at a bus stop not talking to each other. They never met, of course. Then the credits rolled. And that is the amazing digital circus. One of the biggest projects on YouTube. Like I said, I really liked it. This is a series I think is really awesome, even if I think there are some weak spots. Was it the ending I was expecting or even really wanted? No. I really wanted and expected a much sadder or even unsettling ending. If the show didn't end up having the characters be digital copies, I think the show would have had a darker and sadder ending. And I think that's what it needed. This show has such a cool setting and premise for a darker storyline. I'm not saying it should be dark and unsettling every episode, but a dark and sad ending just felt right to me. I'm not saying the ending we got in the end was bad at all, but it just felt lackluster. I think for the digital copies idea, it was the best. Because if they were all killed off but revealed to be copies, it would mean absolutely nothing to us. They weren't real, why care? So it makes sense why they did it. I still think it's a great ending to a great series. Was it worth waiting like 3 years? No. Do I care that it took 3 years to see the end? No. I think the highlight of the episode to me was the part where they showed the lives of the characters' real selves through the social media posts. Mainly because it reminded me of Ride the Cyclone. If you haven't watched Ride the Cyclone, please do. It's a great musical, and I've had the luck to watch an actual performance done by people. Okay, I'm getting into like pretty major spoilers for the musicals, so skip to this timestamp to skip the spoiler connection. Okay, I'm starting. So in the end, they choose to let the girl who lost her head have a chance at life again. When she leaves, they then play recordings of what her life would be when she came back to life. It's a really beautiful scene, and it really seems like an inspiration to the scene in TADC. They both share the fact that they show the lives of characters we haven't gotten to know much, and finally give us closure of who these people are, and give us the reassurance that they are living and they are happy. Okay, out of Dead Kid Spoiler Town. It was really neat rewatching the episodes after the finale, because there are a lot of small things I picked up and understand now. Like how Pomni knew to get Jax in darkness to calm them down because of Kinger with Queenie, why Jax was so hesitant about whether or not they had someone outside the circus, why Jax reacted weirdly when Ragatha talked about her mom, Jax tries getting people's attention to drive them away from others, why Jax looks at Kaufmo's door differently, and so much more. If I had to recommend whether to see it in theaters or not, I'd say wait until it goes onto YouTube. It is a great ending, and I do love supporting smaller studios, especially in theaters, because I feel like getting into theaters should be a realistic goal for indie and slightly bigger studios who don't get the chance to get in there, but I think watching an episode of a show in theaters is not where I personally would like to watch them, and the audiences have not been good. I am lucky my audience was decently respectful, but it was my least favorite audience experience ever, and I watched a Minecraft movie twice. So the people in my theater, if I had to guess, have never been in a theater ever before. There was little to no theater etiquette being shown by the people in it. People during episode 8 were quoting lines very loudly. People were screeching, making exaggerated noises, making very loud comments and more. I'm lucky enough to not have had an audience try singing along with running the show. I mean, of course people tried. I don't care if you make small, quiet comments, and you can react at appropriate times. It is disrespectful and annoying to everyone if you are quoting, yelling, singing, talking, anything like that during a movie. Be respectful so everyone can enjoy it. Most people expected the last act to be good, so that is not a good way to behave when people are actually there for a movie. But enough on that, I want to go back to my original question, and what made you probably click on this video. Unless you clicked off, of course, and aren't hearing this. Was the Amazing Digital Circus good and worth it? I would say yes. I think it is an amazing show. The characters are some of my favorites in animation. Kinger and Ragatha are my personal favorites, and I feel like there's at least one character for everyone. The story isn't my favorite, mainly because of the ending, but if I am wanting to watch something for the comedy and fun adventures, I'll gladly pick this. It had a slow 2 first episodes, but never had a miss after them. The quality of writing and animation slowly went up and up every episode. I think the series is better when binged, but now that isn't an issue. For if I think it was worth it, I feel like YouTube can always use a new thing to rise up and leave a mark. I'm not saying that it hasn't happened recently, or even in a while, but I think its inclusion onto YouTube and as a pillar of what animation can be on it is fantastic as a show. Outside of materials and events and issues, and the process to get here is first, not my place to speak, and second, not what I'm talking about. Indie and small animations on YouTube are infamous. I mean, if you're watching this right now, I'm pretty sure you grew up on some here or on Newgrounds. But I think TADC was worth it to show that putting passion and working on YouTube can have a good outcome, and it can lead to something profitable and memorable. So I feel like this show can be looked at and taken as a great message that finding an audience and putting a ton of work in can lead to something. Was it the best show? No. Was it a really good one in my opinion? Yeah. I am personally more excited and into 2 of the other Glitch shows, but TADC is still really good, and it's awesome that we can rewatch the entirety of it, beginning to end, with nothing new or hidden to worry about. Wow, that took a while. Well, I guess I'll wait to play Half-Life VR, I guess. Thank you a bunch for watching this monster of a video. Just looking at the script, I knew this would be super long. I'm trying to lock in and make really good and high quality videos. I want to finish this Half-Life video that's been haunting me. So, if you liked the video, please subscribe because it really helps. Okay, this has been too long of a stereotypical outro for me. Okay, bye.